This for all of my people who be fighting depression. When you think about your life, you can't help but to stress it. Counting all your failures, but never counting your blessings. I've been feeling lost and I need a sense of direction. Cover up my pain with them bottles and prescriptions. It don't ever work, the next day wonder why I did it. Trying to fight this battle, but can't escape what I'm feeling. Hard to open up when you can't explain what's
exactly.
going on.
And since we brought up parenting, right? I do have
Yeah.
So my daughter, kindergartner, 6 years old,
Yeah.
she got her first love letter.
Oh boy.
Ooh, heartbreaker.
Yeah.
What?
Oh my. So
That's,
I don't know how to feel about
you know-
that. My
you
wife
know-
told me.
What is the content of the love letter, though?
I don't. I wish I could. I
Is
wish
it-
I would. I wish I. Maybe I'll text my wife to bring it down and we read it for the podcast.
No,
or
we
something.
can't do that.
Oh,
We can't
but-
embarrass her
Yeah,
because
but you know,
Yeah.
she's kindergarten. She knows.
Well, is it was it at least because of Valentine's Day or just out of the blue?
I don't know, but I mean, what it's March, April,
April.
May, right?
Okay, never mind. It's
way
not
past
Valentine's Day.
So she got it this week.
Oh,
But
okay, never mind.
you know, something that me and my wife has always been very mindful of, or we talked about this before we had kids, was that we're gonna model good behaviors of a good relationship. And so we've always been very intentional about that. So like we do show a level of PDA in front of them, and we had agreed about that before we had kids. But now I'm starting to wonder, like, oh, was it too much?
Mhm.
You know, but like, and we're still modeling like good behaviors in a relationship. And now like she is kind of like, it's very cute, but she'll go, "Mom, Dad, kiss," and then she'll like push us together, and then we'll kiss, and then she'll go, "Mom, now lift your leg up," you know, like, you know.
She's directing
she's
you guys.
Yeah.
She knows, she's
And
like-
so like
Your love story.
I'm just afraid that she's like, maybe she loves love too much, or like she romanticizes this idea of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So me and my wife, we try to tell her like, hey, look, this was we've been together for a long time. Like this is, you know,
Yeah.
but also like, I don't know.
I think that's a great thing because look, she's you know, she's realizing that's what romance is.
Yeah.
So then when she grows up, that's maybe what she wants. What she don't want some dude just you know, just trashy or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
love it.
Yeah, I feel
It's
like that's
like-
great.
She's like,
As a girl dad, you're worried, huh?
Yeah.
I'm a little worried. Also, at the same time, like I am happy that she's really into this idea of weddings and really into this idea of love and what that is.
At
And I
such a
guess it
young
opens
age.
up a conversation for us to have with them, which is good. But
Let me ask you this. If it was a son that was displaying this, would you be as concerned?
I think so too, because it's kindergarten, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kindergarten is crazy, right? Is kindergarten crazy? Like, look, I'm okay about dating. I'm okay with that. I want to keep the door open. I don't ever want to say don't do X, Y, and Z, because I think that has the potential to close that door for them and not create a space where she feels comfortable to ask you about X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
which can be more difficult, right? If now she feels like she can't go to her parents and ask relationship questions or how she should be treated, or if X, Y, and Z is okay. So I don't want to say, no, you can't do it. You can't do that. But also, like, I don't know. I guess I'm just,
Yeah.
this is just new. This is new to me
It
as
just
this
came out of
weekend. So
nowhere.
it's just like, yeah.
Came out of left field.
Just a stream of thought. I'm just throwing it out there, but yeah, like I don't know. She loves love, and I love that, and I love that. I think me and my wife are. I think my wife is the perfect individual to be able to kind of have this conversation with her, but it is kind of like, I guess it's not a concern, but
Yeah.
it was kind of like,
You know what we should do? We should
Sorry,
let the
yeah.
viewers
yeah,
let us
Yes.
know if kindergarten is too early.
Yeah.
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 What are your
parents?
Yeah.
Parents, what do you
Yes.
think? Danny and I aren't parents.
Yeah.
But hypothetically, if I were to think about it,
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in kindergarten, all I cared was Pokemon cards, dude. You know,
Right,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, but then again,
you know,
we're males.
Yeah.
Danny, when you were in kindergarten, how did you feel?
I liked boys in kindergarten. That's the thing, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had
yeah.
crushes in kindergarten, and
See?
I
I had a second grade crush, man,
See?
and she tore my heart.
Oh,
that's the thing.
man.
Yeah.
I think it's appropriate for these little crushes, right?
Yeah.
from my personal perspective. It's very innocent, right? I think we as adults become concerned when it becomes over or hypersexualized, where it's like it's very concerning, where they start displaying different behaviors of like, oh, now your daughter making you and your wife kiss, that's just what she's seeing at home, right? It's a display of affection, and she's not sexualizing that at all. She just thinks that's a form of affection that my parents display, and it's very normal. If she were telling all her friends to kiss and do that, and that's odd behavior. So I think, yes, it's normal for her to do that at home because she sees that you guys do that at home, right? And it's natural. And it's very natural for kids to say, oh, my mommy and daddy love each other, and that's how they display love. Right? So for her, maybe it's she has a big affinity for love, like you said. So I don't know.
And
I'm not a parent though.
And I guess the question, and so like, feel free to comment. I guess like she's not dating, she's not dating.
I certainly hope not.
In kindergarten.
And at least that's what she's telling us. Also, like, again, we've made a conscious decision to be open about these things, where maybe I should just go hardcore Catholic Christian and just go, we don't talk about this in the house.
Oh my God,
like how we were raised, right? Like,
opposite.
but that's, because, we were raised that way, and we had to navigate that ourselves, like growing up, and that created its own issues.
Yep. That
But
created
now-
teen parents.
Yeah, but now are we too extreme the opposite way? I don't know. Is there a middle ground? Are we we would like to think we're the middle ground, but also I don't know, maybe not. I don't know.
I think there is a middle ground, definitely, where you're open to discussions. And I think if you approach it from a curious standpoint and say, oh, what do you think that means? Like, you ask them, oh, what do you think that love letter means? Like, how do you feel about it? Versus telling them what to feel. Like, ask them, like, what do you want to do now? Right? Versus, well, this is how you should be. Because again, what you're doing right now is teaching your kid, right? How to build the capacity for love and what it means. And so asking them from a curious standpoint as a parent, that's where you're going to get them to open up to you more. Right?
Cam, we might have to go knock on some doors, Cam.
Yeah,
we might have to show up to the school or something. I'm just kidding. I'm not that kind of dad.
not yet anyway.
Update from last time. Maybe you can give me some insight on this. We did talk about my daughter. You know how I said she had
Oh yeah.
she got a love letter.
boy.
So she did tell me something, and she made me promise to not tell mom.
Oh,
Right, but she
okay.
does.
When the
She
episode
does
airs.
have a boyfriend.
No way.
Yeah,
What?
and it's like cutesy stuff.
Yeah.
And mom, and of course I told mom. We don't keep secrets from each other, especially when it comes to our kids. So I did tell mom. But the more I think about it, and mom's always been more against the idea of it, and I've been more pro it. But the more I think about it, right, and so when they talk about like fight sports and boxing, they say the best time to get young people involved into like boxing and fight sports is like when they're like 6, 7, 8 years old, right? And because essentially they learn the mechanics, but they're also not old enough or big enough or physically mature enough to do any actual physical harm to each other. And so when I think of my kindergarten daughter dating, right? They're not old enough to actually
Know what that means.
to like, be missing school or like, potentially having sex or anything like that. They're only like still so young, but I think the upside is she can learn like what she likes in a relationship. She can learn what she likes in a partner. And I know that's still like young and stuff,
It's
but
super young.
like I kind of like the idea. I don't know. Me and my wife, we've been kind of going back and forth about this and having conversations, what's okay and what's not okay. But I think as a young person, just like I said, the potential upside
is pretty good, and they're still like they're still too young for any of the potential like bad stuff, right? I don't know. You as you guys as professionals, what's your take on that?
Oh, I have a lot.
Yeah. No, I would defer to Danny.
Yeah.
I would defer to Danny. I don't know.
I have a lot of mixed feelings about this, right? But I think it's so important. The most important thing here is that your daughter trusted you enough to come talk to you, right?
Yeah.
So we want to create that foundation of trust with her, because this isn't an issue, right? She felt enough trust to share with dad and say, hey, this is what's going on in my life, right? So I would say continue to invest in that trust, right? And not so that you can manipulate and get insight into her life, so that there is, value when she shares with you later down the road, right? When she's older, when she's like, Dad, my heart is breaking. And then that's when you can go in and kind of hold her and love her, right? Right now you're kind of building that foundation. And so, I think it's important that she comes to you and says, I have a boyfriend, and you understand, conceptually that doesn't mean that she's doing all these grown things.
Right. Yeah. And she's young, and I think they're just exploring these ideas,
Exactly.
and I think she sees mom and dad and everything else. Yeah.
Exactly. So ask her, like, oh, what does it mean, for you to have a boyfriend? What do you like about how, go in with curiosity rather than this is what you should do, right? Ask her, like, oh, why do you think it's important to have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
It's wild. I was gonna say, I think it's also, I was gonna say, I think it also has to do with like, cause she's a girl too, and she's more emotionally involved maybe.
Yeah.
Cause I remember when I was in also first or kindergarten, like the guys that I was talking, I was into like Pokemon, all the like playing outside, playing with dirt, and then like one of my other friends like, oh yeah, I have a girlfriend. I was like, what the hell are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
What? And he's like, oh, you don't? I'm like, wait, am I supposed to?
Yeah.
What? I was still at that point where I was like, ew, girls are icky. And this guy was already like, oh, I have a girlfriend. Yeah. I was like, what? Get out of here. And then it was just hold hands in the playground, and that was it. It was just really like innocent. Just I guess for the label sometimes too. And and maybe people just I don't want to say mature, because they're still literally a first graders, but it's just different for everyone, I guess. I didn't care for girls until like maybe middle school.
Yeah.
Then again,
I wanted a girlfriend so bad in second grade, dude. I was crushing on some girl so hard. She broke my heart. Oh man. But she was probably in that position where she was like, I don't know what like a boyfriend? What?
And so, like, you made a great point, right? At that age, maybe you weren't acclimated to boyfriend or girlfriend or relationships yet, right? But that kid, maybe he did grow up hearing it. So
that's true, and I'm pretty sure it's the way we were brought up too, because in our household, we didn't really show any type of emotions too much, or love, or kissing, or anything. That's probably why. Now that I think about it, damn. I'm just learning about myself.
sorry to kind of like start the podcast with that, but I figured
that's so cute.
Since we talked about it like last week, I just kind of give you guys a little update, and that'll kind of
I love that.
Open it up into, and especially it's surrounding what you do as a profession.
Yeah. Okay, circling back to professions, we're gonna touch back on this.
Yeah.
But Peng, let us know what you do.